Zig Ziglar says, listen to your customer and then offer your product or service as a solution to their problem. Chris, what does that mean?
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Man, in 2025, we've made a pivot inside of my restoration company. And that pivot, that service, I was really dwelling over this weekend about what is the triggers for my customer and what's the words they use when they're trying to communicate that they need this particular service. So to give you a physical example, we're going into crawl space waterproofing and encapsulation, and we're going to push really heavy on this. So I started thinking, in the past, because we've done a portion of this, just not at the high level that we plan on doing this year, when they called in, what was some of those terminologies and triggers that made them make the phone call? Well, buckling floors was one of them. And another is I'm smelling musty or moldy odors. Another one is I think I might have mold or something in my house, and it's typically in the crawl space because 50% of the air inside your house is breathing from the crawl space. But they're like, I've got rashes, I'm staying chronically sick, I'm having headaches or migraines. So all of these are trigger words, and they're teaching me how to communicate with them in my marketing. Just like if I sit here and I say, I'm having migraines, and you have been having migraines over and over again, and then I tie migraines into possible mold issues in your crawl space, and you have a crawl space, you're immediately going to think, holy moly, this might be where my problem's coming from, because people don't just walk around with migraines all the time. The other thing is thinking about, let's say that you had a pest control crawl in this crawl space and they say, hey, you got termites. Then that's a trigger point. I could sit there and talk about how standing water in a wet environment attracts insects and termites, wood destroying insects that start degrading one of your biggest investments, your home. And so as I'm listening and thinking back to the phone calls that we've had where we've done crawl space inspections, I'm starting to put my marketing plan together so that I can have these trigger words. Another way you can do this is you can draw like a kid draws a sunshine. You draw the little circle, and then you pull all those little lines off of the circle as the sunshine rays. And then as you're pulling those lines off the circles, those are trigger words. Those are pain points that your customer feels and expresses verbally. And this is your marketing content that you're building here. So inside that circle, the sunshine, I would write crawl space encapsulation. And then on each little ray, I would write a trigger word or a pain point: buckling floors, chronic sickness, allergies, migraines, headaches, rashes, sagging and weak floors, termites, musty odors, moldy odors. And as I'm writing all of this, this starts to build me up my marketing material. And now all I got to do is have the hook acknowledging the pain point to get someone to stop in their tracks so they start to pay attention to your material. And then I throw the solution and hopefully have a nice looking picture to kind of show a before and after that represents the pain point and the solution that I'm bringing to the table. This is how you learn from your audience and you start to market better because now you're speaking their language. I mean, if you went to Germany and you tried to speak English, not everybody's going to be speaking English. So you better learn some German. Same thing. If you're coming from Europe and you don't know how to speak English and you're coming to America, you got to learn some English. Otherwise, most of the folks, especially in America, most of us only speak English. So you need to learn the native language, and you need to learn the native language of your customer that they speak. They don't speak the industry language. We have our own vernacular, our own terminology. So don't speak above their heads. Speak where they can understand.
So let's talk about a couple ways you can figure this out, and I'll tell you how we did it. So for my gutter business, you would think that roofs were the thing they were asking about. We do get asked about roofs. Do you do roofs? Do you do roof leaks? Stuff like that. But we were getting asked more about underground drain issues like every day, all the time. All right. So we had talks about it, and we were like, we have to figure this out, how we're going to outsource that, how we're going to do that, make money, keep clients happy. So we went about that. But That was because we were getting so many. Then we were getting a lot on people asking us about the dryer vent cleaning.
Mm.
That one was weird. So one of my VAs was like labeling every email that came in with that. And one day I looked and I was like, this is getting a lot. So you got to really listen to your customers and then quickly figure out, hey, if we're getting a bunch of these, do I outsource this? Do I build this system with my team? And how can I make money off it? What's the best way to go about it? The other way is when you're talking to good customers that you do a lot of work for, is just ask them. I started doing that like 8 or 10 years ago. You get so much information. You just say, at the end of the job, you just call up, just want to just check how everything went. And like, what other services can we help your community with? What are services that you find hard to get done, are a pain to you?
Mm.
The vendor, there's not enough vendors. I was looking for supply and demand, and they were telling me a lot of stuff that didn't help me, but it was also giving me ideas of maybe I'll buy one of those businesses and plug that in as a bolt on to my business. People will tell you if you ask them, and it's just a great way to get new work.
My dad used to tell me this growing up, now that I'm in my 40s and I've had some experience in life, I really look back and I was lucky to have the training that I got from my dad. And one of the things that he used to tell me is he said, son, don't talk as much when you're in a crowd. He said, the smartest person in the crowd is the one that's talking the least and listening the most, because they're the one walking away with all the information. And I think we need to remember that in business, because in business, it's real easy to get into sales mode and constantly start to sell your service and your agenda to someone. But we forget to listen so that we can identify what matters to our customers. And then we can bring that solution to our customers, just like you started out with that Zig Ziglar quote. If you understand what the pain points are with the customer, now you can bring the solution to them to solve their problems. And I like how you said your customers were asking for drain cleaning. They were asking for dryer vent cleaning. And you were able to look at it and say, well, I can make money three different ways. I can hire on and train this new service inside of my company. I can subcontract it out and still keep it under my brand, or I can refer it out and take an affiliate fee. There were three different ways for you to make money on that one
So
because you listened.
let's look at a case study. Cody, who's going to be at our Atlanta dinner next Sunday.
Mhm.
Okay. He's doing over 90,000 doors per night trash valet. So a very big business, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of states. I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. He was doing trash valet, pressure washing for tons of apartment complexes in 3 states. And he found me, made a call, talked to somebody on my team, and basically said, hey, we don't want to do gutter cleaning, but we want to like secure our accounts with that.
Mhm.
Can we work a deal with you? Essentially, we'll collect the money, sub it out for you, or do you want to do it and you pay us a fee? And we made a deal. Since then, I've done way over $1 million for them in
That's
gutter
amazing.
cleaning. So it's great for them because they're securing, they're making money.
Yep.
That customer's not looking for somebody's services. But then I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, because he's doing all these apartment complexes, he's doing trash valet, which is not junk removal or garbage. It's just picking up the trash at the doors. The apartment managers kept asking him if he was going to do trash removal. So they created, with another person, a veterinarian who already had a couple trucks. They bought into his company. They created a franchise system. Now they're doing it in several states where they sell franchises. And then they just feed all the work in from the apartment complexes. So they're getting paid. They're selling a franchise, making money. They're helping a franchisee get a ton of work, which they get a royalty on, and they're helping their customer. I mean, it's just that forward thinking. They could have walked from either of them and said, oh, we're already making millions of dollars. We're already doing so well.
They're deal makers. I love that. The more I'm around individuals that do that deal making, the more I realize that's really the biggest power of connecting dots, connecting this person that needs something to someone over here that has something, has a solution for the problem, for the need. And when you put yourself in a position of being such a great networker like that, you open up the realm of opportunity to where you have to learn the word no, because you will take on too much than what you can handle. But if you can sit there and connect people, that's like, I'm in a BNI group, and BNI's philosophy is all around this. I can't say every BNI chapter is fantastic, because not all of them follow the structure, but the ones that follow the structure, they have that giver's gain mentality. And when you're sitting in a room of 30 plus individuals that offer different services, you become a resource to your customer by being able to connect them with blue collar, white collar type services. And they see you as the resource. So when they need something, they call you. And then if it's something that you're able to provide, you get to capitalize on it. But more importantly, I love setting myself up as an affiliate partner. I'm like, hey, all the leads come into me. Like the best business models I've seen are the ones that are marketers. It's a marketing company that just happened to do a thing. I mean, when you know how to
Always.
get the attention and they come to you and ask for something, then at that point you can disperse and you can be the resource, even if you don't physically provide it in-house. I love that about Shy's model is he sits there and does the door knocking and he doesn't have any W-2 employees, just like you, Kevin, no W-2 employees that physically do the work. All he is a resource to bring in the leads, and then he dispatches the leads out. Now, he does quality control and he subs it. He doesn't refer it out, but he doesn't have to train his people how to do the craft. The people already know how to do the craft. He sends them the lead, and then he gets a piece of it because he's sending the lead.
And
The
he's doing millions per month, not
net,
millions per month.
he does a million net
Multiple.
per
Yeah.
month,
Many millions per
over a
month.
million net. I mean, it's insane what's capable. And I hope that this
'Cause he's
really
so good
starts
at that.
to
He's so good at that skill.
yeah, I hope you guys start to think bigger about what's available and what can be achieved when you stop thinking about what you are capable of doing by yourself. When you really start to listen to customers and then find and you become the resource, really the sky is the limit. And you have so much control when you sit in that position when you're the resource that everybody's coming to saying, hey, do you know somebody? Do you know somebody? Do you do this? Like it's a very, very powerful position to be in.
It's about being on the right side of the equation. It's wherever you are in your journey. So being a sub is fine, but at some point you want to be controlling those jobs. And if you
Mhm.
want to, you could even be the guy that's just getting jobs and sending them to subs later. I mean, to me, that's the best part. That's where I am in Gutter King. That's where we are in some other businesses. It
I
reminds me
used
of a
to be a
story
sub.
many years ago. I have a lot of work in Connecticut, and I had a sub up there. We became friends. We start talking, and then I got this huge complex. It was like 554 buildings, huge. And I told him about it, and I said, "Hey, I'll give you and your team like 150 of them, and I got some other subs up there, and I want you to go look at their work, and I'll pay you to do it." So he said, "Well, how many subs you got in Connecticut?" Like he was surprised that I had like more than him. And I was like, yeah, there's like 11 of them up there. And then you're in this state and that, like, he was like, I'm on the wrong side of this thing.
Yeah.
How the hell do I get on your side? He was like doing all the numbers in his head. Like, I got to get on this side. And then, so he had a landscaping business, and that's exactly what he started doing. He was introduced to something. He knew how to get more lawns than he can handle, more landscaping jobs. So he started doing that. That's what he does now. You can do anything you want. You just have to be exposed to different ways and then figure out the systems, learn from other people, and do it. It's an incredible method in 2025 because of technology. Wouldn't have worked 25 years ago.
100%. I
Never
started
would.
as a sub. I used to clean windows as a sub for a national vendor that took care of national accounts like Ulta. I'd do their awnings, their windows periodically. They would call in and sign me up. I've done it for businesses, that little handyman type businesses, and I'd go in and do the knickknacks so that I could hopefully get big jobs later on. It is a model. I used to always wonder, I used to think, I don't know what I thought. I guess I really never dove into it and think, how did you get these accounts? But the reality is those accounts are harder to get. It takes a little more effort and it
Oh,
takes
yeah.
a different type of effort. And when you can figure out how to get those accounts, man, do you really open the playing field? Like I got exposed to it when I met you, Kevin, and started hearing about the gutter cleaning. Now our windshield business that we're partners in on, we're watching that same formula go about it. And when you can open up the geographic region that you can provide service to through the subcontractor model, then you really get to start thinking in volume, really, really big numbers. Like it's no longer a few million. in gross revenue. Like you can start seeing a few million in net profits when you can open up your territory that you serve.
Well, it's like our business. I don't even want to share it right now because I just want to keep that quiet right now. But this morning was crazy. The numbers are getting crazy. We're doing that model. There's no fear for us because of that model.
Yeah.
We would already have a big problem if it was employees. Well, we
Yeah.
just wouldn't have enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an incredible model, and
I,
they saw it because I did it with this, and if they have to implement, they got to do the work, they got to make the deals.
I remember their responses in Boardroom Elite when you first started sharing this subcontractor national vendor style model, and how all of our members were just, their mind light bulbs were popping left and right, and they were just like, oh, tell me more. And then you were just really giving the detail, and it really makes you think about where you're currently at. And a lot of businesses can go that model, just most don't realize it's an option.
I think it's likely that at least 3 that I know of in Elite will do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeff with fences, he was
Hmm.
very intrigued by that on our call, and I spent like an extra 45 minutes just going over that, even though it's in Elite.
Yeah.
Sean, I think he'll do that, and Daniel Gainey's already in motion on that, so they'll do it, and then it just gets crazy. Then netting 1,000,000, 2,000,000, that doesn't seem like anything because it's so big.
Seems achievable. And
Netting,
that's,
I'm talking about, yeah.
yeah.
But if you're a one-person company, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're having
Look,
some years.
if you guys want to know more about what we got going on, if you want to know how to get a part of Boardroom Elite, go to bluecollarmillionaire.net. Bluecollarmillionaire.net. All of our resources are there. We appreciate you tuning in. We really want to see you have a big 2025. This is why we do this podcast. We want to see you win. There's no reason you shouldn't be.
See you guys next week.